Good afternoon, and welcome back to ESL Lab Miami. I'm Kathy, and today's podcast topic is phrases. One quiet morning in the writing lab, an ESL student was doing an exercise on sentence types, like simple, compound, and complex. He came across the following sentence about a car manufacturing company. 200 inspectors look for scratches on car bodies, twice as many as in a normal plant. The student approached me in profound bewilderment and asked, "What kind of sentence is this?" I replied with ease, "It's a simple sentence with a phrase attached to the end of it." At which point my student, feeling betrayed by not having learned this earlier, said, and I am paraphrasing here, "What the heck is a phrase?" We've talked a lot about sentences, clauses, and fragments, but we haven't talked much about phrases. In language learning in general, you may hear about common phrases or common expressions, such as "it's nice to meet you," or useful sentences or expressions like "I'd like the check, please." But in the world of sentences, clauses, and fragments, a phrase is not a sentence. It is a group of words that does not include a subject and a verb. There are different types of phrases. One of the most famous is the prepositional phrase. For example, at a restaurant or along the highway. We are eating at the restaurant Ray Kroc founded. Restaurants opened along the highway. Prepositional phrases include a preposition and a noun, at the very least. Another kind of phrase is the infinitive phrase, to serve food quickly or to walk leisurely. The goal of these restaurants was to serve food quickly. To serve is an infinitive, and this infinitive phrase also includes a noun and an adverb. Adjective and adverbial clauses can sometimes be reduced to form phrases. Let's take a look at our examples. First one is an adjective phrase. My student, desperate for complete knowledge of English, said, "What is a phrase?" Do you see how we deleted part of that clause, who was, and just kept the important information that was necessary, desperate for complete knowledge of English? Let's take a look at our second example, an adverbial phrase. We reduced the clause "since they had served" and simply wrote, "Having served together in World War II, Ray Kroc and Walt Disney may have been friends." Some phrases are set off in commas and some are not. Prepositional phrases that introduce the sentence are often followed by a comma, but at the end of the sentence, there usually is no comma. Adverbial phrases are often in commas, but infinitive phrases are rarely, or maybe even never, in commas. If you want to find out what kind of sentence you are dealing with, cross out the phrases until you find the nuts and bolts of the sentence, the subject and the verb. Even if you don't care about the subject and verb and just want to understand the sentence, being aware of this could actually help you. So let's take a look at some sentences and identify the phrases, the subjects, and the verbs. Number 1. In 1939, Karl Karcher bought his first hot dog cart. This is a simple sentence. The subject is Karl Karcher and the verb is bought, and there is a prepositional phrase here. Do you see it? That's right, it's in 1939. Number 2. By the end of 1944, Karl owned 4 hot dog carts in LA. This is also a simple sentence. The subject is Karl, the verb is owned. Do you see the prepositional phrases? By the end of 1944 and in LA. Number 3. In 1937, he worked at his uncle's store selling feed to local farmers. This is also a simple sentence. The subject is he and the verb is worked. There are 3 phrases here. Do you see them? In 1937, at his uncle's store, and selling feed to local farmers. Wow, these sentences were too easy. Let's move on to something a little more challenging. Number 4. Wow, here's a good sentence for you. It might be long, but don't let that fool you. It's really easy to figure out. Let's take a look at it. The same year the McDonald brothers opened their restaurant, a group of World War II veterans formed a motorcycle club, borrowing the nickname of the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne Division, Hell's Angels. It looks like we have 3 clauses here, but we actually only have 2 clauses and a phrase. The same year the McDonald brothers opened their restaurant is a clause. It has a subject and a verb. The McDonald brothers opened. A group of World War II veterans formed a motorcycle club. This is also a clause. It has a subject and a verb. A group of veterans formed. At the end of the sentence, you have a phrase, borrowing the nickname of the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne Division, Hell's Angels. Number 5. William Rosenberg dropped out of school at the age of 14, held a variety of jobs, and then, in 1948, he opened a small donut shop, later calling it Dunkin' Donuts. This sentence has a lot of information, too. It's really just a compound sentence. The first clause has a subject and a verb. William Rosenberg dropped out of. The second clause also has a subject and a verb. He opened a small donut shop. But the second clause also has 2 phrases, a prepositional phrase in 1948 and an adverbial phrase, later calling it Dunkin' Donuts. Number 6. By pure coincidence, Ray Kroc and Walt Disney served together in the same World War II ambulance corps. This is also a simple sentence. Do you see the phrases here? There are 2 prepositional phrases, by pure coincidence and in the same World War II ambulance corps. So, watch out for phrases in English grammar. They do not have a subject and a verb, and we let them in the sentence anyway. I'll be posting some practice exercises to my blog, eslmiami.blogspot.com. And please visit my blog. It has a slightly new look. Let me know if you like it. And finally, as always, thanks for listening.